All right, we're back going from 1-2 to 1025 in just 2 months challenge. It's day 2. Day 1 wasn't so great, lost $1,000, so we're negative $1,000 into the 25K goal. Yeah, could have been better, but we're gonna get it all back right here. Let's go. So we get inside just as a new table is opening up. We buy in for $500. That's the max here. Let's get started. Pick up 10-8 of hearts on the cutoff. There's a couple of limps. The hijack makes it 15. I call and another player calls. So we're going 3 ways to a 10 high flop. Feeling really good about it, especially when action checks to me. I bet 30 and the original raiser makes the call. Turns to 5 of diamonds, brings in the flush. Not my favorite card, but we do still have top pair. When he checks, you could go either way here, but when I'm playing low stakes like this, I would always rather bet than check. And if he makes the raise, then we can just get out of there. So I bet $70. He thinks and stares at me for an uncomfortable amount of time, but eventually makes the fold. Now, this video is actually going to encompass 3 total days of play. So days 2, 3, and 4 of this challenge. I can't really make a video for each single day. That's just not feasible. But we're going to go over all the important parts and, of course, the biggest hands. And trust me, the action just gets better and better throughout the video. You're going to want to stick around. Then I pick up a pretty similar hand, 10-7 suited this time. There's a couple of limps. I'm going to raise it up. One player makes the call. Loving this situation. In position against the limper, and even better when it's a dry ace-high board. We absolutely print money in these spots. This is the kind of spot you want to get yourself into when you're trying to move up. He checks, I put in a small bet, and we win. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but doing this over and over again is just going to print you money. This exact play right here is going to be huge for us. I try to do something similar again with a suited ace. I raise, only the small blind calls. Amazing spot. These are the spots we want, right? In position, in control, our world. I bet once, he calls. I bet again, now he makes an act like, oh boy, I don't want to call, but okay, I call. He's strong. When players are going out of their way to act weak, they are strong almost always, and vice versa. And sure enough, on the river, he's actually going to lead out into us for $50. He's doing this because he doesn't want me to check back. He would hate to see me check back because he'd feel like he wasted some value. But yeah, this is what I'm saying, right? Like, you can just bet, be really aggressive, and when they start playing back at you, they probably have it. So then you can just get out of the way and make a nice, calm fold. Well, here's a hand that I'll rarely, if ever, fold, at least pre-flop. It's ace-king suited, and through a series of raises, we're going to get this all in against the player for about $150. He's got pocket jacks, a classic flip. Flop comes out, queen, 10-3, turns a 6. Come on, dealer, give me something. Give me a pair, give him a set, do something. Nope, it's a 9. We're going to lose this one. Wasn't too much action at that table. I actually decided to leave the card room and come back a little bit later. We booked a small loss early, but that's all about to change when I come back and pick up ace 10 on the button. There's a few limps. I raise it up. Only the player next to me in the cutoff makes the call. Let's see a flop. What was the flop, man? I can't remember. Let me look. Oh, yeah. King, queen, jack, rainbow. We flopped the stone cold nuts. Oh my god. I'm gonna put out a small bet, $15. Please don't fold, bro. I gotta get even. Please just put 3 red chips out there. Whoa, he put out 3 green chips? Are you serious? Okay. Sure. Yeah, I call. Turn is a safe one for us. It's a 5. He bets big again. He goes 140. Now, I'd have about 220, 230 behind if I just make the call. I should probably just go all in here, but you know, this guy and I had been at the table together for just like 10 or 15 minutes, and already we both bluffed each other. So maybe he thinks this is round 3. It's not. I just absolutely have it right now, but maybe he thinks he can run a super cold bluff on me. I'm just going to trap and see a river. It's a 9. Not sure about this one. His bluffs get there, but also he could be scared off if he has like 2 pair or even a set. But he goes all in. I'm going to beat him into the pot. He had king queen, so I guess he felt he was just too committed at the end, and maybe I would call with like aces or ace king. Not totally sure, but finally we are on track in this challenge. Good times keep going when we pick up pocket aces, but it's a double board bomb pot hand. Love playing these bomb pots, man. I think there's a lot of value in them, especially when you get aces, and especially when you flop a set on one of the boards. Through a series of calls and raises, we end up getting this all in 3 ways. And we end up boating up on our board, so that's good. We're going to take that one. The other board is actually going to go to a player who makes a straight flush, so that's pretty sick. And we're going to chop up the money of a player with pocket kings.
He had king
kings. I wish it wasn't a vampire.
Great.
No, you're good. You can take it back.
Stack's looking pretty healthy now. Let's see if we can't punt that off. I got 10-7 of hearts. I raise it up. I flop nothing. I bet. I get called. Okay. Turn a flush draw. All right, well, now we got something. I got to bet again. I bet. I get called. River, not a flush. We got nothing. We've got 10 high. Kind of have a little blocker there. Let's go for it. I'm going to put out a chunky $165 bet, and our opponent goes into the tank. Come on, bro. Fold. 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 Come on. Fold. Fold. Please. Please fold. Thank you.
Thanks. I could have a straight.
So that table ended up getting shorthanded and actually broke. And instead of going to a different table, I decided it's a pretty good time to go get some dinner. I go eat, and instead of coming back to TCH Dallas, I actually go to the other Texas card house. It's called TCH Las Colinas. This place opened up like a year and a half ago, and it's super, super nice. The reason I haven't played there yet on this challenge is because the cap for 1-2 is smaller. It's only $300 instead of $5, but sometimes smaller cap games actually have more action. So let's check it out. And action is what we get, man. Pocket jacks right off the bat. There's a straddle. Player makes it 20. Player calls. I got to raise this up, right? I make it 80. Now the small blind cold calls. Not sure what to think of that. And both the raiser and the caller of the $20 call for 80 also. So we've got over $300 going into the flop here. I don't even have that much left in my stack. If I had to guess, I would say I have the best hand right now, but I'm definitely not super, super confident about it. Until the flop comes out, jack high. Let's go. Everybody checks to me. I'm last to act. My hand's super strong, but I'm not going to check this one back. If the jack didn't come, if it was like a 9 instead of a jack or a 10, I would probably just jam here to deny equity. But in this case, we're just not really worried about anything, and we don't want to scare anybody off. So I actually put in a small bet, $80, kind of making it look like, maybe I'm just seeing if I can pick up this pot and I'll fold or give up if something happens here. Obviously, that's not the case, but anyways, I bet 80, and the small blind is actually going to go all in now. He covers everybody. Love to see this, and love to see the next player go deep into the tank. This guy goes real deep, man, like over a minute. Thinking about his option. I can't believe it. I don't really know what he could have. Probably a flush draw, right? I'm trying to look like, I don't like this at all. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I order a beer, and eventually he makes the call. Other guy folds. I snap call. Let's go to a run out. Oh boy, that's not good. It comes 2 clubs. Now I do have the jack of clubs in my hand, but I'm not even playing top set anymore. If anybody has the ace, king, or queen of clubs, we're gonna lose this $1,000 pot, but nobody does. Small blind mucks his hand, and the other player, the original raiser, actually had pocket kings. Surprised he didn't want to go with it pre-flop. Doesn't have a club in his hand, so yeah, man, we're gonna scoop a big one right here. I played for a little while longer, but I didn't get any big hands or, very interesting hands. So we'll call it here for day 2. Big success. We won over $1,000 on this day, recouping our losses from day 1. Now, let's push forward. We start day 3 back at Dallas, and we got a really pretty one here. Queen Jack suited. I raise it up over a limp. 3 players make the call, so we're going to go 4 ways to a pretty good flop. Jack 10 deuce rainbow. Not many hands at all that can beat us here, so I'm going to bet with my top pair, 20 bucks, and the button starts looking serious. And I don't like this at all, because when folks do that, usually a raise is coming, and sure enough, he raises it up to $65. Well, action folds back to me. I really don't like this spot at all. Like, I can't tell you how much I hate this, because again, I don't think there's a ton of this kind of bluffing going on at these stakes, but like I said, there's just so few hands that can beat us. Let's peel one and see what happens on the turn. I make the call. Turn is pretty interesting. It's a 5 of hearts. So now we have a flush draw going into the river. I check it over to him, hoping he checks it back. Come on, man. Nope. He bets 115, and he's got some speech play for us.
They call my table transfer, man. I don't want to hit and run.
So don't hit.
I advise you to let go of it.
So don't hit.
losing on.
Somebody got the flush. Guess what?
I'll lose. You win.
You check? I have 2 pair.
Wow. I didn't want the heart to come. I thought I want the heart to come.
I have the speech play, huh? I actually believed you. I thought you had it. Honestly, that was pretty good, I think, by the opponent. That was some pretty good speech play. I genuinely believed him. If I didn't turn the flush draw, I would have folded, but I felt like I had the odds to hit the flush, and I wish I did, because then we would have coolered him. And at the end, you know, I rivered 2 pair, and I still didn't like it. If he had jammed, like it looked like he was going to, I probably would have folded, honestly. But thankfully, he gave this one up. Nice try, man. Maybe next time. Wasn't a super eventful session outside of that hand, so I ended up cashing out and booking a small win, couple $100. What is important here is my cash out total was 777. That's a pretty lucky number. Let's see how that works out. We head back to Las Colinas later that night, hoping things keep going as they have been. The start of this session was defined by just raw aggression. I had ace high, I bet a couple times, I win. I got queen high, bet a couple times, win. How about pocket 7s? Can't really bluff a pair of 7s, right? Well, I turn it into a bluff and 3-bet the flop, win. How about 8 high? This is the worst one yet, right? We get to the river, can't win with 8 high, I bet $60, win. Finally, I get something. I pick up trips on the flop, but again, I bet and nobody calls. I guess that's fair. I can't expect people to fold when I don't have it and then just call when I do. That would be a little bit unrealistic, but still kind of sick to raise up 9-5 suited, flop trips, and somehow nothing happens. Well, finally we get into a big one here. There's a limp and a raise to 10. Now, this just smells like weakness to me because this same player had been raising to $15, sometimes even $20, even when there wasn't a limper. So just raising to 10 seems like he's trying to take control of the pot with a hand he feels like he should raise, but doesn't love, like aces, ace king, or jacks. Doesn't want to put too much money in. So let's go for it, right? I got my favorite hand in the big blind. We're going to put in a raise here to $40. He seems hesitant, but he does make the call, saying it's a sticky call. All right, well, let's see what happens. It's 5-4-3 rainbow. Pretty dry board. We do have a gutter to a straight. Could turn a scare card like an ace or a king. I'm gonna down bet to 30, and he makes the call. Now the turn's a weird one. It's a 9. Well, I'm out of position in a 3-bet pot. I don't want to bloat this pot. I don't love my 9 here, but it's probably good. I'm not totally sure what to do. I check it over to him and he makes a bet. He goes $75. I don't like this at all, but it's possible that he's betting worse for value. And I do still have a straight draw too, so I make the call with my top pair. River is a 3, so shouldn't really change anything at all. I check it over to him, hoping he checks it back, but he reaches for chips. It looks like he's gonna bet pretty big. I can't face a big bet, but he then pulls back some of those chips and just bets $75 again. I gotta call that. What do you got? Anything? So if he had bet bigger, like $200, I would have folded. But when he bets small like that, I think he could have worse for value. Like pocket 8s makes sense there, right? Maybe even a 5 that's trying to get a call from like ace high. And it's also just pot odds, right? I mean, I got to call 75 to win a lot more than that. Even if I'm wrong, like half the time, it's still a great call. And this is kind of a thing too, especially on the river where players feel like they should bluff, that there's a good chance it'll work, but they're hesitant. I mean, I get it. It's a shitty feeling when you bluff and you get called because, you know, that's money that you didn't have to lose, right? When you get like coolered or something, it's understandable. You can live with that. That's not really a mistake. There's nothing you could have done. But when you bluff and get called, it's like this didn't have to happen. And it is a shitty feeling when you feel like you're punting chips. But by being hesitant and betting small, he actually just made it worse for himself, right? If he had bet big, he would have won, but he would have had to risk more. But in this case, he risked little, but it cost him the win. And this is definitely a thing that I've done before, and I'm sure you guys have too. So just something to think about. Later on, we get it all in against a really short stack with ace king. Should be in pretty good shape, and sure enough, when I show my hand, he's got king jack suited. So we go to a run out. He does turn a flush draw, but nothing comes for him. We're gonna felt him, and we're gonna cash out a good win. Won $700 on day 3. Hey, that's a great day for a 1-2 player like me. Let's keep this momentum going as we head into day 4. Remember at the start of the video when I said there's going to be more action as we get going? Well, this is what I was talking about. On day 4, we go back to Las Colinas. I've been having a lot of success there, so why go to Dallas again when we've been hot at the other spot? We get there and we get seated on seat 5. Haven't had the best of luck in seat 5 lately, but to my left is what I would describe as a crazy Russian man. And this guy is going to be super action, and we're going to get into some pots with him. First, we've got ace king on the button. There's an open. I raise it up to 60. He's going to cold call, and everybody else folds. Love this situation. Flop, not that great. It's queen 10-4 with a flush draw. I've just got ace king high, but he bets out $70. I don't have much behind. I don't really think that he would bet with value, because why would you? Since I'll probably bet when he checks. So I don't think he has much. I'm going to go all in. He gives it some time to think, and then he shows me 8-5 offsuit and throws it away. We're in for a battle. And that battle turns into a war here. We've got 9-8 suited. Raise it up to 10. Our man's gonna 3-bet us up all the way to 40. I want to play pots against him. I call, and the flop comes down jack 10-4 with 2 hearts. Straight flush draw for us. Really good flop despite only having 9 high. I check. He bets big, $70. At this point, I've got about $400 something in my stack. With a hand this strong, I'm gonna raise things up. I go $200. He doesn't waste much time. He goes all in. Well, we've got a million outs. I call, and man, he's got pocket jacks. Oh my god, this is a pretty big pot. Things didn't go well day 1 against an action player. I need help here. Turn comes an 8. That gives us a pair, but that's no good. We need a 7, a queen, or a heart. Dealer, please do not let me down. We can't afford to lose this one. And bang, 7 of clubs. Woo, thank God.
Great.
I know.
Now, the player I would describe as crazy Russian man leaves the table for a phone call or something. So now we can kind of play like we have been the rest of the video, right? Raising up pots, betting whether we've got it or not, trying to win with just pure aggression when we feel weakness, and it works out. And I get my stack after all this up to about $1,100. Pretty sweet considering we bought in for $300. But you can see that the guy to my left's got a lot of chips too, and the war will continue, that is for sure. When he comes back, he buys me a beer. Super nice guy, super funny guy too, man. Win or lose, I genuinely do like this guy. But his stack has dwindled a bit in the past few hands, and when I get ace king, I know what I want to happen. I raise it up. Sure enough, he 3-bets it up to 50, pretty big. Lady on the button calls, not sure what to make of that, but I'm definitely gonna put in a 4-bet. I go 200. He thinks for like 3 seconds, goes all in, gets back around to me. Yeah, we got a call. This is gonna be a huge pot here at 1-2. He kind of peels his cards, and so do I. I can tell he has a queen in his hand. That's all I know for sure. So at best, pocket queens. Otherwise, we're very far ahead. And the flop comes down with an ace on it. Let's go. Turns a queen though. I know he's got one. Oh boy. Final card's a 10, and he has queen jack of clubs. So we're gonna be good here, and we're gonna scoop a big pot. Very lucky, man, because I only had about 60% equity here. Got it in good, but you know, not that good. And we're running it once here. Whew. This was a really big one to hold. I mean, we had that straight flush draw that came through earlier, and now this. Definitely a lot of run good here for us, but hey, I'll take it.
And he always does that. Actually, I saw it at the other game too. He's like, he gets the biggest fucking pots.
The previously described crazy Russian man rebuys for 300. He gets felted again by another player, and this time he just buys in for 100. Says, "This is it. Going home after this one." I raise up to 10 with king jack of hearts. I know what's gonna happen. He goes all in for his $100. A lot of people think about it, and I don't really want anybody else to call. And eventually everybody does fold. I'm happy to stick it in. Not sure what he's got, but we flop a flush draw and we end up rivering top pair. So probably good, and sure enough, when I show, we are good. Our man's out, and shortly thereafter, we're going to be out too. What an amazing, amazing 1-2 session. In for $300 on this day and out for nearly $2,000. Let's recap the past 3 days overall. All right, so it went pretty well tonight, and it's really been going really smoothly for the past 3 days. Day one sucked, man. Losing $1,000 off the bat when I really couldn't afford to do that many more times than that. So I'm really glad that we found some run good here. Over the past 3 days, I've won $3,400. So that's really good for a 1-2 player, right? And that's where we're at right now. But there is a time thing. So there's $13 an hour is what it costs to play at Texas Card House, which is actually a really good deal. I think it's better than normal like casinos where they just drop every hand. I think this is overall better for the players, and it definitely influences better action because it decentivizes nitty play basically. So because of that, that's a couple $100 down the drain. The total for the challenge will be right here. So remember, we lost the $1,000 at the beginning, but ever since then it's been going really well. So I'm pretty happy with how everything's gone so far. Definitely can't complain. My very optimistic goal here is to try to win $500 a day while I'm at 1-2, which we're on pace for because we're up, what is it, like 2,200 total over 4 days. So we're right at that mark, which is awesome. And once I move up to 2.5, $1,000 a day is the goal. And I mean, if we hit that, that's gonna be like, we'll be done in a month, forget 2 months. And yeah, that's not gonna be easy, obviously. It's gonna take a lot of luck to get there, but it's not impossible, man. It's not impossible. And so that'll be our goal. And it's kind of like a situation where, you know, you shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. So, you know, even if like I don't quite hit that, if I get close, then we'll definitely get within the 25K in 2 months, like for sure. Some takeaways so far, you know, this is by far the most amount of time I've spent playing 1-2 in years. So yeah, I mean, just a little bit, but it's not like crazy different from what I think I'd expect. A lot of limping going on, and that's the place where you make your money, right? Is like 3 people limping in, you make a chunky little raise, and then you bet small on the flop pretty much no matter what. And oftentimes nobody's really gonna fight for the pot and they'll fold. A little move you can do is bet small on the flop, bet bigger on the turn, like maybe like 2/3 of the pot, whatever it is on the turn. So like 1/3 or 1/4 even on the flop. Go bigger on the turn. People will fold almost always. The vast majority of people, at least. You gotta know people who, you know, don't like to fold too. But yeah, that's gonna just print you money, and that's kind of how you make it. Like without, you know, having to get lucky, I would say, right? It's just like this variance-free situation where people are playing passively, and if you play aggressively, you're just gonna win the money. And most people 1-2 don't play very aggro. Now we got our man Sasha, the crazy Russian guy tonight. He's a little bit different, right? So when that happens, you got to completely change it up. I wasn't picking up many pots when he was at the table, like as far as just raising and then like picking it up, because he's gonna fight for everything and he's gonna be in every pot. So, you know, it just depends. But in general, like, that's, you know, a lot of young guys kind of message me about trying to get further in poker. Like, you don't want to be the guy that's putting money in second, right? Like, you don't want to be the guy calling, you want to be the guy raising. And when everybody naturally checks to you, you bet almost always, and they'll just fold if they don't like their hand, and you're gonna win. Like, that's kind of how you guarantee wins. So hopefully things keep going this smoothly. Obviously tonight things could have gone a totally different way, right? Totally different way. I mean, that straight flush draw I had when old boy had jacks, I mean, that was crazy. That was a 50-50 flip that I won. And then winning ace king against queen jack suited, I mean, I only have 60% equity there, right?
40% of the time he gets me for a huge pot, and that would really set us back. So thankfully none of that happened, and yeah, man, we're on pace finally. So I'm happy with where I'm at. I gotta be playing like pretty much every day, and I gotta put out the videos too, right, every week. So not much room for error here. Not much room for error at all. So I'm glad that there was no error tonight. I've been playing like a little bit tighter. Also, like not really taking every single spot, just to kind of try to not have a huge setback. But yeah, I think everything's going well. Yeah, it's going well. So, well, anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on the KDog Poker Vlog. Take care.